Okay, let's dive into what is, without a doubt, the most famous painting in the world, the Mona Lisa. For more than 500 years, this one portrait has captivated millions. But why? What is it about her that's so endlessly fascinating? Well, we're about to find out.
And there she is, painted by the original Renaissance man Leonardo da Vinci, way back between 1503 and 1506. You know her face, right? Her gaze has become a global obsession, an icon that somehow feels both incredibly familiar and like we don't know her at all.
And look, that's not just hype. People have described the Mona Lisa as the single most famous work of art on the entire planet. Her fame, well, it's a phenomenon all by itself. So that brings us back to the big question. Why her? What secrets are hiding in plain sight? We're going to tackle 3 of the painting's biggest mysteries, using a mix of modern science and some good old-fashioned detective work to peel back the layers on this masterpiece. First up, you knew it was coming. We have to talk about that smile. It's the most talked about feature of any painting, ever. For centuries, it's been the very definition of ambiguous. But is it really? Right, the story we all know is that her expression is some kind of masterful illusion. She's smiling one second, but then you look back, and maybe she looks sad, or like she knows a secret you don't. It's been called this great emotional enigma for a reason.
Well, what if I told you that modern science decided to just, test it? And the results they found might just settle this centuries-old debate once and for all. Get ready for this number, 97%. What in the world could that possibly mean?
So, researchers in Germany showed a group of people the original painting, but they also mixed in some altered versions where they'd tweaked her mouth to be a little happier or a little sadder. And the result was overwhelming. When they saw the original, a staggering 97% of people described her expression as simply happy. So, scientifically speaking, that famously enigmatic smile is, well, it's a happy one.
Okay, puzzle number 2. I want you to look past her smile for a second, over her shoulder, and into the world she's sitting in. Because back there, we find another huge, long-standing debate.
For ages, art historians have argued about this. Did Da Vinci just make up a fantasy landscape, or was he painting a real spot in Italy? Well, recently, a couple of very specific theories have popped up that are getting a lot of attention. So, just in 2023, a historian named Silvano Vincetti made a strong case for a bridge in Tuscany. But hold on, because just a year later, a new challenger entered the ring. A geologist and art historian named Anne Pizzarusso pointed to a completely different place, Lecco, near Lake Como. And her evidence wasn't just about the bridge, it was about the rocks themselves. And this is where her theory gets a serious edge. As a geologist, Pizzarusso argues that the specific type of limestone you see in the painting is a perfect match for Lecco. She basically said that other theories just didn't get the geology right.
Now, why is this so important? Because we have to remember who we're talking about. Leonardo wasn't just an artist. The guy was a brilliant scientist who studied geology like crazy. So it makes total sense that he would have painted a real landscape with absolute geological accuracy. And that gives the Lecco theory a lot of weight.
All right, for our final mystery, let's zoom all the way out and look at the whole painting. Have you ever wondered why the whole thing just feels so balanced, so pleasing to look at? Well, the answer, it turns out, is math, pure and simple.
The secret weapon here is something called the golden ratio. It's this special mathematical proportion, roughly 1.618, that pops up all over the place in nature. It's often called the divine proportion because it seems to be a kind of natural blueprint for things that we find beautiful. It's often written down using the Greek letter phi, but you don't need to be a math whiz to get it. Just think of it as a kind of perfect, harmonious relationship between 2 different sizes that our brains are just hardwired to appreciate. And when you visualize that ratio, you get this beautiful shape called the golden spiral. It's a perfectly balanced spiral that you start to see everywhere once you know what to look for.
Seriously, from seashells to galaxies to the wings on a butterfly, this exact pattern is one of nature's fundamental building blocks. And Leonardo, who was obsessed with observing nature, he absolutely knew about it.
And so, he used it to construct the Mona Lisa. The entire canvas is framed by a golden rectangle. And then he uses the spiral to guide our eye through the painting with this incredible precision. It starts right at her wrist, sweeps up across her forehead, curves down past her chin, and ends perfectly at the tip of her nose. It's genius.
So, what does this all tell us? We've decoded her smile with neuroscience, pinpointed her location with geology, and found a secret math formula in her composition. It all points to this beautiful place where 2 worlds collide.
The amazing thing is that the way we study this painting today, using all these different scientific fields, perfectly mirrors the mind of the man who made it. Leonardo da Vinci didn't see art and science as separate things. To him, they were just two different ways of understanding the world.
And this quote from Anne Pizzarusso just says it all. The more we learn, the more we appreciate that Leonardo wasn't just a painter. He was a scientist, an inventor, and a geologist, a true master of all trades.
And that leaves us with one last incredible thought. We've been studying this painting for 500 years. We've analyzed her smile, her background, her very composition. But you just have to wonder, what other secrets is she still hiding?